Indeed virtual interviews are an increasingly popular way for companies to screen job applicants. So what exactly are they? What can I expect on one of them? And most importantly, how do I do well? My name is Patrick and I'm going to teach you exactly what an Indeed virtual interview is so you can outshine the competition. And at the end of this video, I've got a great tip that will really boost your confidence, so stick around for that. Instead of the classic interview where you're sitting physically across somebody face to face, this is a virtual interview, similar to a Skype or Zoom interview, where the interviewer is across from you virtually. These interviews can be a little bit unsettling and nerve-wracking, so that's why we're going to walk you through them. If you've been through one of these interviews before, please let me know in the comments what you thought. After you apply for a job that has Indeed virtual interviews enabled, follow the on-screen prompts to select a time and date when your interview will be conducted. Since this is a live interview, you have to be available at the same time that the interviewer is available. This is not like one of those one-way interviews that you can do any time. A few minutes before your interview, log into your Indeed account or fish out the confirmation email and click the link to begin your interview. Since interviewers typically overbook on Indeed virtual interviews, you might have to wait a few minutes before you get called up to talk to the interviewer. So those are the basics. But how do we maximize our chances of getting through the interview? Let's break things down in more detail. By the way, if you feel like you've gotten value from this video so far, please consider liking and subscribing. We're constantly pushing out new content that will help with your career and job search. And check out tryvoomer.com, where you can practice on questions for thousands of different companies and you get instant AI-powered feedback on your answers so you can quickly improve. All right, let's go into more detail about how to ace the interview. We'll break this down into 3 sections. First, we'll talk about your pre-interview setup. Second, we'll talk about preparing answers. And third, we're going to discuss what to do when you're actually answering the questions. Before you click on the link to begin your interview, you have to take care of the basics. Remember that being on camera is nothing like a face-to-face interview. You have to make sure that you look good on camera. Just looking good in the mirror is not enough. What matters is how the computer interprets you. To put your best foot forward, follow these steps. First of all, raise your camera up to eye level. That will simulate an actual face-to-face conversation instead of having you look down into the camera at a weird, unnatural angle. Then take a look at your background. Does it look clean and professional? If not, tidy it up. If you can't tidy it up, angle your camera away from the messy part of your room onto a part that looks nice and tidy. Remember, you can always do the interview with a plain white wall as a background. Turn on the lights in the room that you're in. A dark background looks very strange on camera. Just be careful not to have any windows, mirrors, or bright lights in your background because those can be very distracting. You also have to be well lit, so place a lamp behind your camera to ensure that your face is well lit. Record a quick video of you talking. Do you look good? Okay, that's great. As long as you feel good, you're probably okay. Now listen to what you just said. Do you sound loud and clear, or are you tinny and hard to understand? If so, consider investing just a few bucks in a lapel microphone. They really improve the audio quality. When it comes to dress code, dress in the same attire of the industry that you're applying to. Just because you're at home doesn't mean you can skip getting dressed. Now let's think about the questions and how to get ready to answer them. Since your interview will be live, questions can be all over the place. But as a general rule of thumb, questions fall into 3 categories: behavioral questions, motivational questions, and technical questions. Behavioral questions are those classic ones that begin with, "Tell me about a time." And you have to think about your past career or personal life for examples that best fit that question. Motivational questions are another staple of job interviews, and those will usually ask why you want to work at the company you're applying to, or what attracts you to the job that you're applying to. Sometimes even, why did you pick this career? Technical questions are harder to predict since they are closely tied to the role that you're applying to. If you're applying to a finance-related role, you might get asked questions on how to model a DCF. An industrial quality manager might be grilled about different ISO specifications, and a lab technician might be asked about the most recent scientific discoveries in their field. Regardless of the question you're being asked, try to use the STAR method as much as possible. If you don't know what that is, S stands for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for results. Up here is a video where I go into far more detail about what the STAR method is, and I highly recommend it. Think back to the most interesting and exciting things that happened during your career and write those down. Then break them down into the 4 letters of the STAR method, STAR. Have around 5 examples ready to go for the interview. Let me illustrate with an example. Let's suppose that the company I'm applying to lists initiative as one of their values. So I want to have an example that demonstrates initiative. Setting up this YouTube channel required a lot of initiative, so I'll use this as my example. For S, I'd say career change. That's the situation I was at the time. I wanted a career change. T, for task, I will talk about how I wanted to create a YouTube channel. So that was my task. I set out to create a YouTube channel. For A, action, I would talk about trial and error, because that's how I set things up. Since I didn't have much experience, I used trial and error until I got the formula right. And for R, results, I talk about users, how I went from 0 users to having thousands and thousands of visitors every day. And that's a great result. Great, so now you know exactly how to structure your answers, and you have a couple of examples ready to go before the interview even started. So let's begin the interview. Now you're face to face with your interviewer. The most important thing you have to keep in mind during the interview is energy. The camera tends to dull you down, so you really have to be enthusiastic when speaking to your interviewer. Smile and speak directly into the camera. Maintaining eye contact with the camera while you're speaking to your interviewer can be hard. Place a sticker next to the camera lens to remind you where to look. If you're asked a question and your mind goes blank, look back to the notes that we discussed in the previous section where you shortlisted a couple of examples. That will help you get you back on track. The last tip I have for you here is confidence. Confidence is a game changer when it comes to acing these interviews. Unfortunately, every person has a different way to deal with that. But the one that works really well for me is practice. A great way to practice and boost your confidence is to head to tryvoomer.com, where you can practice on questions for thousands of different companies and get AI-powered feedback on your answers, so you can quickly improve and land that dream job. If you still have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I usually reply within 1 day. And as always, good luck with your interviews. Check out the rest of our channel for more interview tips, including things such as improving your camera and audio setup.